Dear brothers and sisters, I extend you a warm welcome to the reflections of 17th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The liturgy of the day invites us to have a greater faith and trust in the providence of God. In the first reading as well as in the Gospel reading, we see the display of mighty power of God in the context of human impossibility. In the first reading, taken from the 2nd Kings, we see the mighty power of God. Prophet Elisha feeds 100 men with 20 barley loaves, depicting the power of God in those who trust him. In the Gospel of John, Jesus feeds 5,000 men with 5 loaves and 2 fish, a sign of God's providence beyond human expectations. Dear brothers and sisters, I would like to reflect with you 3 key messages from today's liturgy. The first point, Jesus asked the question, where are we to buy the bread? The second point, the little that is offered to God can be transformed into great. And thirdly, God's grace is always in abundance. The first point, Jesus asked the question, where are we to buy the bread? When he saw the large crowd following him, he asked Philip, where are we to buy the enough bread to feed these people? And the Gospel says, he asked in order to test him. Dear brothers and sisters, the Word of God always challenges us in our daily events of our life, in moments of failures, in moments of sorrow, in moments of darkness, in moments of brokenness. The Word of God challenges us to check whether do we have a deep faith in God or where do we place our trust. The answer that was given by Philip and Andrew speaks about the human failure to trust in the providence of God. Philip says 6 months of wage would not be enough to buy enough bread for them. Andrew says, here is a boy with 5 loaves and 2 fish, but what are they for so many? And even in the first reading, the servant of Prophet Elisha doubts in feeding 100 people with the 20 loaves of bread. But the Gospel says the crowd followed Jesus on account of the signs and the wonders that he did. The disciples who closely have seen Jesus working many miracles, many wonders, and showing a lot of signs and healings, failed to look at him with faith. They saw only the human limitation rather than the power of God working before them. Dear brothers and sisters, the Lord is asking each one of us, where do you go? In the moments of loneliness and isolation and rejection, where do you go? In the moments of sufferings and pain, where do you go? In the moments of trials and troubles and tribulations, where do you go? When we see the life of Jesus, he turns towards the Father in every moment of his life, even doing before every miracle, even every event of his life, he turned towards the Father. Even before the multiplication of the bread, he turns to the Father and gives thanks. The Lord is asking each one of us to come towards him, to take God as a first recourse in every moment of our life. Even we see in the biblical accounts, the heroes of faith, they had a first recourse to God in everything. When Isaac asked Abraham, Father, where is the lamb? Abraham replied, God will provide. And his faith in God was never failure. And God provided for Abraham. A woman with hemorrhage just thought for herself, if I only touch his garment, I will be healed. And her faith was wonderfully blessed with a greater healing. Mother Mary, at the wedding of Cana, when wine ran out, she went nowhere but ran to Jesus, whereby a greatest miracle is being done at the wedding of Cana. Dear brothers and sisters, the Lord is inviting each one of us, come to me. In moments of darkness, in moments of trials, in moments of troubles, in suffering and pain, where do we take recourse? Do we come to the Lord who is the source of life? Do you come to the Lord who is the source of everything? The Lord is inviting that we come to him today. Second point, the little that is offered to God can be transformed into great. The boy in the crowd had only 5 loaves and 2 fish, but the crowd present was more than 5,000 people. In the context of human, it is impossible to feed 5,000 men with 5 loaves and 2 fish. It is impossible to feed 100 people with 20 loaves. But in the hand of God, the little becomes great and mighty. What was impossible in the sight of man becomes possible in the sight of God. That is why Jesus says, with God all things are possible. Even St. Paul affirms, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. That is where, when we are with God, when we offer ourselves into the God, we become someone who is mighty and powerful. We see some of the instances in the Bible, dear brothers and sisters. A stone in the hand of David becomes most powerful instrument to strike down the great warrior. A jawbone in the hand of Samson becomes the mighty weapon to crush down thousands of thousands enemies. A little flour in the jar of a Zarephath woman never runs out when she offered to the man of God. Dear brothers and sisters, today the Lord is inviting each one of us to offer the little we have to God, to offer our own talents, to offer our own skills, to offer our own abilities, to offer the knowledge that we have, the faith that we have for the greater good of the society. Even if it is insignificant, even if it is little, it is God who multiplies and does the greater and mighty works. Are we able to trust God in those little things that we have? Third point, God's grace is always in abundance. After feeding the 5,000 men, we see 12 baskets of pieces were left over. And in one instance, we can see that 12 is a symbolic number resembling the 12 tribes of Israel. It means God can feed all the people of God. On the other side, from the scarcity, there comes an overflow of the abundance. It means God's blessings are always in abundance. There is no laxity, there is no scarcity. When God is present, we have abundance blessings in him. To receive these blessings, St. Paul exhorts us to live according to the worthy of our calling. To live in the spirit of unity with humility, patience, gentleness, and love. And this spirit of humility would enable us to live like the children of God according to our calling. Dear brothers and sisters, on this Sunday, the Lord is inviting each one of us to have a greater faith and trust in his providence, to offer our little things, ourselves into the hand of God. God can work through us mighty and wonderful things in his vineyard. Placing our trust in the Lord, let us continue to walk in the footsteps of the Lord.